One of our most loyal listeners asked us for this one.
And when you get a request like that,
there's nothing left to do but honor it.
That's actually the whole lesson of today's episode. If you want to skip to the end,
don't skip to the end. This is Keep Buggering On. And fair warning, everything you're about to hear is true. And none of it is going to make you feel any better about humanity.
November 24th, 1975. Newsweek runs a short piece on a freighter that sank 2 weeks earlier on Lake Superior.
A few paragraphs, standard wire service stuff.
And a Canadian singer-songwriter reads it and thinks, this is going to disappear.
So he writes it down, not to make a hit, to make sure it doesn't disappear. Listen, are you ready for this? Because this one is a gem. Before we get to the storm, you have to meet the boat, because the boat is its own story.
1957, Northwestern Mutual Life Insurance Company, yes, an insurance company, commissions the largest ship ever built for the Great Lakes.
Named after the company's chairman, Edmund Fitzgerald. His own wife, Elizabeth, did the christening.
June 7th, 1958. 15,000 people show up to watch the launch.
Oh, and it does not go smoothly. It takes Elizabeth Fitzgerald 3 swings to break the champagne bottle on the bow.
Then it takes the yard crew 36 minutes just to release the ship.
And when she finally hits the water, she goes in sideways, throws a wave into the grandstand, and clips the pier.
Spectator in that crowd has a heart attack in the moment and dies.
Now, people love to call that an omen. We're not going to do that.
No. Sailors are superstitious, and a bad launch makes a good campfire story, but it's not evidence of anything except a rough afternoon in a shipyard.
Because here's what actually happened after that rough afternoon. 17 years of nothing but competence. Largest ship on the Great Lakes until 1971. Set the seasonal hauling record 6 separate times, sometimes breaking her own record.
Over 1 million miles logged. That's 44 trips around the planet, carrying taconite pellets out of Minnesota to the steel mills in Detroit and Toledo.
They called her the pride of the American side, the mighty Fitz.
So hold both of those facts at once. A launch people still talk about like a bad omen, and 17 years that proved the omen wrong. That's accuracy. You don't get to keep the spooky part and drop the part where the ship just worked. November 9th, 1975. The Fitzgerald leaves Superior, Wisconsin, fully loaded, bound for Detroit.
Great Lakes sailors call this stretch of the calendar the Witch of November. Storms build fast, gales hit hurricane force, waves get taller than the boats.
Captain was Ernest McSorley, 40-plus years on the lakes, 63 years old. This was supposed to be his last run before retirement.
There was a second ship nearby, the Arthur M. Anderson, traveling roughly the same course, radioing back and forth through the storm.
The gale warning that went up that afternoon wasn't small. 2 storm systems collided right over the lake, and by evening, the forecast got upgraded to something closer to hurricane strength.
Around 7:10 that evening, the Anderson checks in with the Fitzgerald.
And McSorley radios back 3 words that became the whole hinge of the story. We are holding our own.
10 minutes later, the Fitzgerald is gone from radar. No distress call, no wreckage on the surface.
Silence from all 29 men aboard. The Coast Guard and nearby ships searched through the night and into the next day. Nothing.
A Navy aircraft finally located her on the lake bed 4 days later. Using a magnetometer, she was in 2 pieces.
And to this day, nobody fully agrees on why.
The leading theories: faulty hatch covers that let water in slowly over hours until she lost buoyancy, a rogue wave. There's actually a documented pattern called the Three Sisters, 3 waves in a row bigger than the rest. Or she scraped bottom on a shoal and took hull damage nobody saw.
A 1977 Coast Guard report leaned toward the hatch cover theory. Other maritime historians have never fully bought it.
No black box, no survivors, no single answer that closes the case.
And for the record, the site's protected now. Canadian law treats it as a grave site. No diving, 500-meter restricted radius, as it should be. Here's the part that actually gets me. We are holding our own isn't bravado. It's an honest status report from a man who had every reason to believe it was true.
Experienced crew, sound ship, known route.
Right. That's exact profile of confidence that gets built into every process, every checklist, every we've done this 1,000 times.
And most of the time, it holds.
Most of the time. But here's the thing nobody tells you when you're coming up in a trade, doing it right, staying safe, are actually a package deal.
They're just usually correlated.
Usually, not always. And I've sat in rooms where the gap is exactly what gets argued over. Did the process fail? Or did the world just do something the process was never built to survive?
2 very different conversations.
Completely different. One's about fixing a mistake, the other's about accepting there wasn't one. And that's the harder room to sit in.
Because there's nobody to blame.
Nobody to blame and no checklist you can write afterward that guarantees it doesn't happen again. That's the room McSorley was in, radioing back that everything was fine. He wasn't lying. He was giving you the most honest answer a competent man can give 10 minutes before the world proves competence isn't the whole story.
That's not a reason to stop trusting your training.
No. It's a reason to hold your integrity the same way whether the ship's in calm water or a gale. Because you don't get to pick which one you're in when it counts. That's the whole thing I actually believe about this business and about people. You do it right because it's right, not because you know how the story ends.
Here's the part that actually made us want to do this episode. The Fitzgerald isn't even the deadliest wreck on the Great Lakes.
Not close. 1958, same year the Fitzgerald launched, the Carl D. Bradley goes down on Lake Michigan. 33 of 35 men aboard died.
1966, the Daniel J. Morrell breaks apart on Lake Huron. 28 dead. 1 survivor spent almost 40 hours on a life raft in November water.
Higher death toll than the Fitzgerald? Comparable. Same kind of storm, same kind of ship, same kind of families waiting by a phone that never rang.
And unless you're a Great Lakes history buff, you've never heard of either one.
There are something like 6,000 shipwrecks on these lakes, maybe closer to 10,000 by some counts.
Every one of those had a crew. Every one of those had a name on a life raft, or a name that never got found.
So why is the Fitzgerald the one everybody can hum?
That's the whole answer right there. Lightfoot. He didn't just write the song and walk away.
He kept correcting it for the rest of his life.
One early line leaned on a hatchway failure theory investigators had floated at the time, which read, to some ears, like it was pinning the blame on the deckhands responsible for sealing those latches.
Once better evidence cleared those men, Lightfoot rewrote the line himself, decades after the song was already a hit single.
Because 2 young guys had done their jobs right, and their families cringed every single time that line played on the radio.
Also had a line describing Mariners Church in Detroit that undersold how well kept the place actually was. The Reverend gently corrected him after the fact, and Lightfoot changed that one too.
He stayed in touch with the crew's families for decades, showed up to anniversary services, never let anyone turn this into merchandise or a punchline.
In an era where a hot take gets published before anyone fact checks it, here's a guy revising his own decades-old hit because one word was slightly unfair to the people it was about.
That's not marketing. That's not even really songwriting at that point.
That's just decency applied to a lyric sheet for 50 years straight. And it's the only reason 29 names are still remembered, when the Carl D. Bradley and the Daniel J. Morrell, just as real, mostly aren't.
So, checking the sky.
Usually that's our line for looking the wrong direction for an answer that's already in front of you.
This time, it's literal. Every sailor on that lake that night was watching the sky, reading it, trusting it, and doing everything right by it.
And the sky didn't have the answer that night. It just had the storm.
Turns out the answer wasn't up there at all. It's in a church tower in downtown Detroit.
Every November, Mariners Church rings its bell 29 times, once for every name.
Not a headline, not a hit single. A bell, a name, and a pause. A bell, a name, a pause. 29 times.
That's where you actually find them now, not in the sky, in the sound.
One of our most loyal listeners asked us to tell this story right, so we did.
If you've got a story like that, one that deserves the accurate, absurd, affectionate treatment, that's kind of the whole point of KBO Standard Supply.
We checked it. It's real. You're not going to believe it. Until next time, take care of yourself, my friend.